I'd like to share with you a story of a real situation that I have experienced. A banker friend of mine called me because one of his top clients had come to him and asked his opinion on whether he would run out of money in his lifetime based on his financial condition. So my banker friend called and made an introduction, and his client and I met. When we got together, the client was very friendly and brought with him a quick snapshot of his net worth. And what he did was he shared with me very upfront, saying, look, I've been very successful in real estate, I've been a successful businessman, and I really just want a simple answer, which is, I don't want to run out of money in my lifetime. Can you give me that answer? I'd like to get a second opinion from you. So I was more than happy to speak with him, ask him several questions about his portfolio and details. He provided those answers, and we agreed that after our analysis, we would get together again and I would share with him some important points that I saw, and I would share with him a strategy that I've used with several financial successful clients. At the next meeting we met, the first thing I pointed out and asked him about was his commercial real estate. He mentioned that he had a $25 million net worth. 90% of that was in commercial real estate. And I asked, who do you lease to? Who are you partnered with on your commercial real estate? And very, very confidently said, well, I'm working with a major company. I built out specific locations for that company, and I'm very successful doing that. So that's working out great. And I asked, well, if you're using one company in particular, what if something were to happen to that company? Bankruptcy, financial difficulty, reorganization, buyout, would that affect you? And of course he looked at me and thought, well, it's a good point. I understand the risk. That's why I'm doing this. That's business. So I said, okay, fair enough. You understand your business, but I just thought I would point that out to you. And he said, thank you. Next, I took a look at his stock portfolio. He had three with three major institutions. And in looking at those, we did an X-ray report on each portfolio and found that exactly the same type of strategy was used in the three different places. So he thought he was diversified because he had hired three institutions, yet those three companies invested the funds nearly the same, all large cap value companies. And as I looked into it further, I said and pointed out to him that almost the same names, almost the same companies are in each portfolio. As a matter of fact, 50% of the value in your fund is in a few names, particularly 10 names. And one of those names, it was actually the same company that is renting from him. And he was very surprised. He said, I had no idea that I was also investing money in that same company. How would I know? I don't have the tools to. So I said, well, I wanted to point that out to you because I think it's very, very important. You're overweighted in one asset class or two, real estate and large cap value. And within your large cap value, you're concentrated on a few names, a few companies, and that's high risk. And actually, as I pointed it out to him, it's more risk than investing in the S&P 500. And so, in fact, his portfolio was at higher risk than it should be for someone of his net worth. He was, of course, opened his eyes, wanted to hear more, had further questions, and I was happy to discuss it with him. But really what he wanted was, what's the strategy? What would be the strategy that I need to discuss moving forward? That strategy that I shared with him, I share with other high net worth individuals, which is to take a look at the overall allocation. Just because you have different pieces and different accounts, you really have to have an overall understanding of your complete asset allocation. That allocation needs to have various pieces using various asset classes that minimize risk. And if you haven't done that, you do have a potential problem in your portfolio, and you could have some surprises that you don't need. So we analyzed that. Secondly, we then took a look at the rate of return expectation. I asked him what that was early on in our conversation, and he mentioned that he wanted to maximize as much as he could. And I got him to consider this. First off, a portfolio of real estate and other types of investments like stocks really requires far more diversification across various types of asset classes. In his case, he really only had two: domestic real estate and large cap value stocks. Only two asset classes among the several that we use to spread risk and increase return. So the strategy we discussed with him was a broadening of the asset class to minimize risk and to add in an element of consistency of return so that he would no longer have those kinds of threats to his net worth. Second was to really talk with him about the importance of the relative return that he should be thinking about. He was always thinking in terms of maximizing and building account value, which of course is important. But what I discuss with him, as well as other high net worth individuals, is the importance of thinking about, number one, inflation, and number two, a withdrawal rate. And right now, inflation is approximately 1.6%. It was in 2014, and a 5% withdrawal rate. With those two metrics, we took his assets, and I did a future illustration to show him that he would never run out of money, would always have the income that he would need, and frankly, had a considerable amount of assets left for his family and for charities and other giving wishes that he had. So those were important lessons to him. They continue to be important lessons to high net worth individuals. Certainly, it takes an outside person to see those, a qualified person to see those differences, and it was very, very important to him. I hope that was something I wanted to share with you today, an important element about making sure that you don't outlive your money, and share with you a strategy that I think will get you thinking about your own portfolio and your own allocation. If you'd like more information, please go to richardbrothersfinancial.com, and I'm sure it'll be worth your time. Thank you.